Why do they always see me as an idiot they can lie to?
You act. It's the way you act. It's the way you act.
Yo, what is up guys, Bob87 King here, back again with another video. In this video, we're going to be talking about Disventure Camp episode 11, which ends up being an insane episode to talk about. Obviously, a lot of gameplay moments happened, which is personally my favorite part of the show, and also a lot of interesting character moments and a lot of interesting character dynamics were explored, obviously, and I found the tribal to be very, very intense, kind of reminding me of the Australian Survivor here through the villains, tribal in episode 7, I think, but if you don't watch Australian Survivor, I guess you don't really understand that. But yeah, all around this episode is great. Probably my favorite episode of the season. We even see Gabby again near the end, which I don't know what to think about, but all around, yeah, this episode is pretty great. So let's just talk about people who are left, starting off with Trevor. And yeah, all three of them can just go mad. I feel like they're just there to pretty much explain the challenge. So that's pretty much it. Miriam, obviously, this is tough. She hasn't really gotten, I'll still put her in great, but she doesn't really get that much screen time, and obviously for this episode, it wasn't necessary for her to get a lot of screen time, but yeah, she's pretty great, honestly. Not much to really say, she's still a pretty great character, so yeah. Alec, obviously, in Royalty, I feel like Alec is an incredible character at this point. I love the fact that he ended up staying. Do I think it was a bit of plot armor to keep him and Flore? Probably, but I still think it made it somewhat realistic, but I think what drops it down was definitely what Flore does, but we'll talk about Flore later. I just feel like Alec getting Ellie on his side was a pretty smart move, and then I feel like him convincing Ellie to, vote out Jake, and also, like, convince Jake to, vote for Tom and pretty much distrust Tom throughout the entire game was pretty smart. And all around, I do feel like Ike's strategy here was just all around pretty smart. So we can just talk about Flore, who gets them Royalty, and it probably was my second favorite character this episode, but I just feel like she definitely overplayed it a lot at Tribal with her pretty much exposing Ellie for everything that she did, which in my opinion wasn't really a smart move because personally I would have kept Ellie in the game around the final 5, despite her being probably a bigger challenge threat than a Miriam or a Jake. But it's like, yeah, I understand that you don't want Ellie and Jake to like come back together and work together, but it's like, it's pretty unlikely that Jake would even work with Alec and Flore to begin with. But yeah, all around, I don't know. Flore's strategy here is kind of messy in my opinion. You already got what you wanted, and yeah, I don't know. I would have just taken and leave it personally, but yeah. Ellie, a great. This was a pretty. Yeah, I'm gonna put him Royalty. This was a pretty great. Amazing episode for Ellie. I like the fact that she was able to emotionally manipulate Jake because that's personally something I would do if I was playing Toll Drama. I feel like that would definitely be one of my strategies to go further in the game. But yeah, I found it interesting of how she was able to go back with Alec and Flore, and then at Tribal, a lot happened. So yeah, that kind of definitely does boost my opinion about Ellie. I feel like she might be one of the next people to go, but I feel like it's still kind of unlikely because I can't imagine a Final Four without her, personally. I feel like the next out might be like an Alec or Flore, but if not, probably Jake, but yeah. Jake, obviously, the man of the hour. Definitely someone who, in the past few episodes, I was definitely very low on, but like a few episodes ago, I ranked him around pretty met or good, but he was funny. He was funny in this episode. I like the fact that he said, why do they always think I'm someone I can play with? And that's probably the intro of the video. But I just feel like Jake, this episode was very interesting to watch, seeing him kind of like spiral out of control. And then him voting out Tom was something that I didn't expect, personally. I think he still probably would have voted Fiore, and that's kind of why I think it's a bit of plot armor to keep Fiore and Alec in the game. I'm not complaining though. I definitely like both of them more than Tom, but it's definitely a bit noticeable because I feel like they could have set up Jake voting out Tom because like when they're walking to Tribal, Jake tries to talk to Tom anyways, or Tom tries to talk to Jake, and Jake kind of seems receptive, but yeah, honestly, I just think it's kind of unlikely for him to actually go through with it, but yeah, because realistically, I don't think Jake was thinking straight, but like, if I was Jake, I would probably think that if Ellie's telling me this, then this probably means that Ellie might be voting out Tom at this point. But yeah, I don't know. Tom, this is a pretty good. Actually, no, I'll put Jake in that. was a pretty good episode for Tom. I like the fact that he finds the immunity idol and actually still ends up playing it for Jake, which is it's pretty sweet because obviously, despite Jake annoying Tom, he still ends up playing the idol for him, which, I mean, was obviously a dumb move. He ends up going home, but it's like, it kind of shows that Tom is still a pretty good person at the end of the day. I like the fact that he, like, cussed Jake out pretty much for everything that he did, which I think is pretty understandable, and I probably would have done the same too. And overall, Tom was just a pretty fun character throughout the episode. I like the fact that he didn't need to wear his mask. Actually, I'll put him in Void if I'm doing. He's probably above Ashley. Yeah, I think this is a fair spot for Tom. But yeah, I think these are the rankings of the people who are left in the game. Thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you guys so much for 1,000 subscribers, which is very crazy to think about. Oh yeah, I forgot to post Facebook. I'll do that on my community tab line. But yeah, that's pretty much the video. Thank you guys so much for watching, and yeah, peace out.